The fastest, most efficient way to learn the backhand is not just going out on the field and try to throw as hard as you can for as long as you can until your arm rips off, even if you should do that once in a while. But if you don't know what to do, then you will only create bad muscle memory, and it's a sticky thing to get rid of. So the better way to learn to throw the backhand is to splice your body in half. So rather than just trying to think about it all at once, try to think one thing, practice that, and the other thing, and practice that. And after you know what to do, then you merge them. Exactly like I used to do when I practiced the piano. So the process of learning is simple, yet boring. Especially when you're trying to learn a new piece. So if I want to learn this the most efficient way, I would split my hands so that I learn the right hand first, then the left hand. And I split this to, let's say, 4-bar sections. So I can put 100% focus on my right hand now. And I would repeat and repeat and repeat so many times that I don't need to look at the score anymore, but it's in my muscle memory. I would repeat the same thing with the left hand. As many times as needed. And only after I know that my hands can work independently, I try to put them together. And of course that takes a lot of practice too. But it would sound something like this. And so I have learned the first 4 bars of this piece. And I would repeat and repeat until I don't have to think about it that much anymore, but I can focus on making the music. And of course there are a lot more difficult passages here and it takes a lot more work, but that's the way to learn music. But this is the method I also use when a student comes to me and wants to learn how to throw backhand. So the backhand is pretty simple. You need to know what to do with the arm. The throwing arm is this. And the legs, that's the second part. So there are only 2 parts you need to think about. And if you're one of those people who think that you need to know what to do with the head, with the chin, with the breathing, with the neck, with the chest, with the off arm, with the back leg, knee, don't do anything. If you just let them be without controlling them, you're halfway there. And the other half is the throwing arm, and the second half is the leg work. And the leg work is so simple that the majority of this lesson focuses on the throwing arm only. The biggest, most common mistake with my students is that they retract the scapula. They throw like this. If I'm throwing that way, they pull like this. If you look at the slow motion or a still picture, it always looks like this. The shoulder is high up here, the neck is like this. You have retracted the scapula. You have tensed the shoulder muscle. Don't do that. How not to do that? Well, let's take the Postman drill. Take a sturdy stance. Just stand on your front leg and with the other hand, grab on a pole. Doesn't matter what kind of a pole. It can be a field goal, a soccer goal, a lamppost, even a tree is okay. Just grab it with the off arm. What this does, it prevents you from using anything else but the throwing arm. There really is nothing more to the throw regarding the upper body than getting a fast motion with the arm from here to here. When you're holding on to the post, you get instant feedback if you're actually leaning like this, because you can't do that if you're holding onto the post, or if you are late releasing. If your throw looks like you late release, so with the righty you throw a hyzer to the right, it means that you have retracted the scapula. So try to keep the flight of the disc on a straight line, or even a little bit to the left. I always prefer to early release than late release when I'm practicing the arm. So always try to throw a little bit to the left or straight, and if you throw to the right, you are retracting the scapula. So how to fix this? Try to loosen up, push the shoulder down and out so that you look something like this. If I'm throwing it there, my shoulder is out and I'm trying to throw there. If I'm retracting the scapula, it looks like this, which means that the arm slings out way too late. And it looks like a hyzer air bounce release. And if you suffer from that, do the Postman drill. So the second phase is we ditch the post. We basically do the good old Beto drill. Again, we stand on the front leg only. The left leg, if I'm a righty, is somewhere here behind me. I really don't care. It hovers somewhere above the ground because we're not focusing on the leg work. We're only focusing on the arm and the arm only. Take a sturdy stance. Try to reach back a little, then the deep pocket and out. The same thing we did, but without the post. And if you have done this before the wrong way, you will again release right, if you're a righty. So again, early release is a lot better option. And if you early release a lot, then work from there to get the disc straighter and straighter and straighter. Again, we are not working for power here. We're just trying to create good muscle memory so that we get the disc to the deep pocket and then we sling out. If you still struggle doing this, I suggest you check the grip. The grip is actually quite essential to the swing plane, because if you think about it, if you grip with the pinch grip, which I don't promote at all, which means that the thumb is basically only used from the tip of the thumb, and the fingers are, well, it really doesn't matter if you're using a power grip, a modified fan, or a fan, whatever. You're basically pinching the disc with the thumb only and the tip of the thumb. This makes it very hard for you to curl the arm in. I mean, it's possible, but for me and many other people I know, it's quite hard to curl the arm to the deep pocket, which makes you sling out the disc. I mean, you can do that, but if it's difficult, you probably don't do that. And I've seen a lot of students do this. When they pinch grip, they keep the wrist open at all times. Basically, that's a recipe for late release and a lot of shoulder pain. So rather than pinching like this, try to get the meaty part on the plate. This makes you a lot more relaxed on the arm, and it doesn't really even matter if you power grip with the 3-finger grip, or if it's a mod fan, or if you use all 4 fingers. It doesn't really matter. If you get the thumb on the plate like this, you get a lot more power, so you don't have to use the strength of your hand to grip the disc. You can be really, really relaxed and it's still firmly on your hand. And on top of that, the wrist curls in a lot more smoothly, like this, compared to the pinch grip. For me, I don't like it. Feels impossible, actually. So, like this, you grip from the outside, a little bit more meat on the plate, and then you sling out. So that's the arm part. So what to do with the legs? With the run-up, I prefer to take a straight run-up towards the intended line of the release. And this is important because many of you think that the basket at about 500 feet is the aim point. Well, yeah, it is the aim point, but the line of release might be very different from that. So the line of release is the aiming point with the run-up. So take a straight line, try to get your front foot heel and the back foot toes on the same line and follow that doing the X step. It's a really simple X step drill. And when you're taking the X step, stop. That's all you need. You take the X step and stop. After you created the muscle memory of the X step and stop, try to enhance the stop by actually pushing backwards. So rather than just stopping, push back. This creates the hip motion we all want. When we take the last stride, our hips are a little bit turned, not much, but a little bit. When we go forward and push back, our hips turn like this. This makes the hips turn, and when we have a little bit of coil here, some people have a lot, I have too little. This creates a little bit of coil here, and when we have uncoiled, we do the arm. So there's really just two things we have to think about. To get the leg here and push back, and then the arm does the same thing as we did in the Postman drill. So really, it's pretty much like learning the piano. First you learn the right hand, then you learn the left hand, and the left hand I think is equivalent to legs because the left hand is usually the accompaniment, more simple, and the right hand is the ornamentation, the melodies, and a little bit more fine-tuned movements, the throwing arm. This is how I teach the basics of disc golf backhand, and I think it applies to most, if not all, the players there are. Of course, your body is different than mine. Everybody's body is different than everybody else's, so of course you have to attune to your body. But these are the basics. When you know the basics, you can fine-tune all of the movements you know and all of the movements there are to suit your body. But this is the basics, and this goes a long way, I guarantee. Thank you. Bye.